know. I love it when you know what it feels like. It feels like you're a junior or senior in high school, and all the freshmen come in, and they're all scared that we're all going to put them in their locker and lock them in, and
Brita, that's exactly what you do.
It's like Fresh Fest.
Brita's the enforcer in here.
I know. Really, and all those kids smoking back there.
Yeah,
we're who your mama warned you about.
That's why they all have their videos off. They're just like they're just smoking right now.
I think we're the only ones here. I think
we're scared.
No, it is actually like right on my bedtime. So I'm sitting in the floor stretching, and like hence the no video. Maybe next time.
All right. Hey, it is great to see everybody here. As you can tell, we start right on the hour. Just a couple of housekeeping things as we get started here for those of you who are new. If you are not talking, please mute your mic. That includes those of you who are on telephones. That's super important. Whoever's on 818 area code, we're getting a little feedback from you right now. If necessary, I will mute you, and you don't want that because then I think it's hard for you to get unmuted. So that's first thing. Second, we love to see your videos. Even if you're stretching, that's fine. We've seen some really interesting videos sometimes. So feel cool about that. And then we try to end right at the top of the hour so we can respect everybody's time and Lindsay can get to bed. The format here is super informal. We are here to help each other, to share ideas and questions and thoughts and concerns. Generally, Emily or I sort of take it around the group and just try to check in with everybody as best we can and just hear what's going on and raise questions. And please don't be shy about participating. You guys have learned that by now from having been in Austin. So, well, just to show you how it's done, we'll have Brita go first. Brita is on her third book or second book with this program, and you're in editing right now. So why don't you tell us what's going
on? Nothing. So I'm just taking it a little bit slower. One thing that I've noticed though is with each new group, like the 250 words and posting it, it's great, but just don't let it turn into a competition or a weird competition with yourself. Like, oh, I only did 263 today. Okay. That's what you were supposed to do. I just see that with each new group, like there's a spike in like, oh, sorry, that's the dog. So that's all I would say. But this time, my first book, as Hal and Emily know, I just barreled through it. I got it done really quickly, had very unrealistic expectations. And this is number 3, and I'm just going slow. You know what? The world is not going to change the second this book comes out. It's okay. I'm doing a far better job as well. So
good. Thanks for the update.
That's all I have to say. Just one step at a time. This is not a marathon. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So everybody just calm the heck down. Slow the fuck down.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was pretty clean mouth for you, Brita.
Slow the fuck down, people.
All right, thank you. So you guys see how it goes now.
Even Quan got it in, and Quan went slow, but he was very deliberate. But you know what? He got it done.
Yeah. All right. So before I start picking on people and making you talk the way I just did to Brita, I would just like to open up, see if anybody has a question, a concern, something they want to share. Jump on in. Anything?
Celebration. You forget Celebration House. Sometimes people are in here because they're happy.
That's true. That's right. Lindsay's happy. Lindsay's really
Thumbs
happy.
up from Lindsay. Nice.
All right. No? Wow, it's really quiet. Okay. Well, let's see. I'll just start talking to people. Hugh, it's nice to see you in here. You can help us show the new kids how it's done. Tell us how your book is coming along. Oh, Hugh may have just like gone off to the bathroom. Something. All right. I'll move around. James, you want to give us a quick rundown on how your writing's going?
Yeah, hi, thanks. I'm chugging right along, but boy, am I off my outline. I discovered that there were two sort of major explanation points that I needed to have explained, and I hadn't. It's one of those things that it's so obvious to me that I forgot to actually put it in the outline. So I took off on those two addendums, not really even knowing where they were going to go in there, but that they needed to go in there somewhere. And now I am really quite seriously off course, and I'm not quite sure what to do.
Well, so James, you're really on sort of your pre-vomit draft, though, right? Isn't that what you're
Yes,
doing?
yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with James' book, he had a lot of trouble getting his outline together in Austin, and is really doing essentially some exploratory writing, if that's accurate. Um,
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't
accurate.
know. Is this making you nervous?
No, but it made me super appreciative of the call tonight.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I would, write those chunks. I mean, it's great that you've identified them. That's really good because one of the challenges many authors have is being too close to their own work and not realizing what they need to explain. So if you've seen that, that's really good. And if you can write them as discrete pieces and figure out where they go later, you might be okay.
Okay, I've got a few others that are smaller explanation points that I just put block parentheses and a note to myself. Be sure to include this somewhere and maybe a sentence, and then I go back to what I'm doing. I've got probably a dozen of those in the text so far, but these two were sort of big and substantive, and what I cover in the explanation could then influence how I refer to them later. So I took off and did that, and now I'm sort of on a path that the second and larger one of those has led to. But I think unless you advise me not to, I'll just write that until it runs its course and then jump back into where I was in the outline.
Emily, what do
I
you
would
think?
suggest. Yeah, and I would say when you're ready to jump back into the outline, don't even worry about trying to connect it or don't worry about any of that. Like if it were me, I would literally just put a line break and then start my new totally different topic thought.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
if you use that material later, it will be so obvious to you when you go to review it again, like that it doesn't go here, and you'll have thoughts about where it should go. And so don't worry about any of that. An outside eye, when you're ready to look back at it, will resolve most questions there.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of that because as I polish, or as I think when I go back and read this, what I'm going to do is summarize big blocks on Post-its and then kind of rearrange them and have them just refer to the blocks and kind of rethink the outline.
Yeah, very cool. And crucial to all of this, of course, is the burning question, which is, how's it going with identifying your avatar?
No progress yet. But I've just barely had time to even focus on the book this week. So I've stayed on the writing. That's kind of my top priority. The avatar is second priority. I expect to have no time to do that this week, but I want to get back into it next week. I'm going to go to some meetups and conferences and things like that and just kind of meet people and look around.
Very cool. Just one thought on that continued search, which is that you want to stay really open-minded and flexible about who the person that you're writing to becomes, because you're doing a lot of pre-writing that's helping to solidify your knowledge, which is really awesome. But you don't want to then go looking out in the world for like the perfect person who needs the knowledge. That'll cause you to it'll cause you to find maybe an audience of 10 years from now, right? Versus go out into the world and find like the people that you want to engage with. Find the people that you have some knowledge for and you can help teach, and then decide what of your knowledge you can give to them.
Yeah, that's good advice. I also realized I have a friend who's a fairly prolific published author who has done a whole bunch of nonfiction books and has just started writing fiction books specifically to target a younger demographic than he was getting before. And I may just go have lunch with him and just chat in general about, how that topic and how that exploration was for him.
Good. That sounds like a plan for sure.
I had a question.
Yeah, please.
I just heard about a book the other day called Lifespan, author named Sinclair. Are you familiar with that one, James?
I don't think so. Lifespan Sinclair, I'll write it down.
Yeah, because I thought, well, if that's all about not aging and living a long time, so I thought, well, maybe that's, you know, if you can kind of figure out who they're targeting that book to, but it seems to be getting a lot of rave reviews. So
Yeah, I've got a whole shelf of books. Is it recent? Do you know?
yeah, it's quite new.
Oh, okay, I probably don't have it then.
Mhm. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Great. Thanks, James. In the interest of trying to cover as many people as we can tonight, I'm going to keep this moving along. Marshall, you were just in, and you have set yourself a deadline, right? So how you doing on this?
It's been humbling. I've been out sick from work, in fact, don't know what's come over me, but I've been doing a lot of writing at home. So I'm putting the finishing touches on it, and I just need to know where to send it.
Oh, send it to either me or Emily.
Okay.
And, hal@scribemedia.com. One of us will take a look at it.
Terrific. I'm excited because it's been quite a ride.
That's great. That's really good. That's real progress, though. That's good for you. I'm really delighted that you've made your deadline. So good for you. All right. Let's see. Somebody else. Rich is driving. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not going to be responsible for that. You can listen until you park. Who else you want to talk to? Ted, you want to tell us how it's been for you since you came back from Austin?
Sure. What's up, everybody? Yeah, it's been good. I say it like you guys are all writing the book with me. I'm cranking, I think my journey is maybe just a little bit different from the workshop experience because I actually read the Scribe method before going to the workshop. And so I had a little bit of a head start. So I'm closing in on it. I'm probably a few weeks away from having my vomit draft done, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm also terrified because I just don't know yet if it's good, if it's any good. So we'll find out. But I think for our first draft, it'll be fine. But
well,
I think my biggest
sense. I mean, you're going to go through this process of being not sure, and you're just going to have an accelerated process because you had a head start. So
right.
Where you should be.
Yeah, I've got to imagine that this is like just living with being unsure, even once you publish. So, but one of the biggest things that I'm still struggling with is the title. I left the workshop with a couple of, I think, really good options. I just don't know if I want to move with either of them. And so that's kind of my struggle, but that doesn't need to be sorted out anytime soon.
Yeah. So just to remind you that you have to lock by the time you're all done with your editing. So you still got, even if you got your manuscript done in 3 weeks, you probably have another month after that, if not more.
Yes.
So one thing that I think some people have found helpful is actually posting in Facebook with some of their title ideas and asking for feedback. That can be useful if you use our Facebook page. And I also know authors who actually do A/B testing if they have a big enough audience and, find what they like that way. I mean, I think those are both good tools. All right.
Yeah, I like that.
Good. Okay. Any questions or just full speed ahead?
I don't think I have any questions right now. This is my first one of these, so I'm sort of here to learn and observe and see how this goes, and then I will definitely be using this as an opportunity to ask the questions I have as we go.
Yeah, of course. Just jump right in. All right. There's Hugh. Hugh, I'm delighted to see you here. Tell us how it's coming for you. Well, I think you are muted or you've done something with your earbuds because I can't hear you. Nope, still not hearing you. Oh, poor Hugh. He doesn't know that I can't hear him because he took his earbuds out. All right. All right. I'm going to send him a note, and maybe you'll see that in the chat, and he'll come back. He's challenged today. Right. All right. I'm going to just jump up onto whoever's above you in my screen. That's Craig. Craig, I sent you some feedback on your outline idea.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling about that?
Good. I think that my main question, Hal, is just do I wait to start even doing the vomit draft until I have that outline redone?
What do you think?
I would say I think I'd feel more comfortable having the outline done, so I kind of don't have to rewrite things 3 times or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you struggling with reordering the outline? Do you have any problems with it?
No, I was working on that today, and it seems to be coming along. I just need to get those first 5 chapters into one. But
Yeah.
that's actually not going to be too hard, I don't think, because there's a bunch of good information I can just condense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I look at it, I just think it's relatively easy to condense.
Yeah.
You're an interesting guy, but as I said, you're not that
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, my wife started laughing. She said, yeah, I thought the same thing. She was like, okay, maybe the people who know you may want to read this, but the rest of us won't.
Yeah. But that's good. I mean, it still needs to be in there. It just needs to be tighter. So
Yeah.
You get that and you'll be in great shape.
Yeah. I should have that done pretty quickly.
All right. Good. Well, Hugh's gone away, so I'm going to pick on Hugh all night, I think. Doug, you want to tell us how things are going with you?
Hi, everybody. It has been a long time. I'm kind of stuck. We've gone through 3 different cancer treatments in our family over the past year. It's kind of changed some perspectives. So and my agency quadrupled. So I kind of got stuck and learned a lot in the process. And I'm kind of questioning my outline. I finished my vomit draft, but I'm in the editing and I feel like I'm rewriting my whole book, like Tucker told me would probably happen. Just kind of looking for some guidance, I guess, to get me unstuck.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that you had gone through that in your family.
Thanks. All good now. So,
all right.
But thank you.
That's good. So what's happening that makes you feel like you need to rewrite everything? What's changed?
When I originally wrote it, I think my perspective may have changed a little bit. I've learned a lot in the writing, and I think some of the life experiences may add different context to some of the chapters. And I found like I repeated myself a few times, but I didn't realize that until I got into the editing. I was like, oh, I think I already told this story. So it was almost like having to rewrite certain things. I'm just going to assume that's somewhat natural.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's just part of the process, and I'll just grin and bear it. But it's kind of, I guess, just beating myself up a bit, trying to see, I guess, if that's just part of the editing process, realizing, yeah, you retold the same story, you got to find a better one.
Yeah, that's really normal.
Okay, cool.
Don't worry about that. I'm more interested in if you feel like your core message is changing in any meaningful way, or
it got a lot stronger. Like my
Okay.
commitment to helping entrepreneurs. I think my avatar evolved a little bit. If anything, like now I feel a crunch to get this book out.
So who's your avatar?
More so. Originally, it was basically my wife. It was female entrepreneurs to help them create a business on the side so they could start living life on their own terms. So if they didn't want to return back to corporate after having a kid and they wanted to do something more fulfilling, this was to help them get the courage to start that thing on the side that would ultimately lead to their freedom. Since then, we've actually launched a mastermind to help agency owners start a digital marketing agency. And it's basically the same thing I did to quadruple mine over the last year and a half. So I didn't know if I blurred the lines with focusing too specific on females, because it's really applicable to both.
So wait, you lost me there. So you had that first avatar.
Yep.
And now you launched this mastermind about digital agencies, but the first avatar was really about any kind of side hustle, right? Or
Yeah.
no? Okay.
Yes, it was.
So
It was
how's
very broad.
yeah. So how's the mastermind affecting your shift in your avatar?
I'm wondering if I needed the book to be more relevant, because the book was a lot more broad. It could be any side hustle. I did narrow it down, so it would be any service-based business.
Yeah.
So it wasn't e-commerce. It wasn't anything you had to buy or resell. It's basically how can you take what you know, your knowledge, your expertise, and monetize that in some form of a service.
Yeah. Emily, go ahead.
Well, it occurs to me that women, and particularly moms making a side hustle, is a really specific challenge. And you would write differently and you would speak about the concerns of that audience very differently than you would a guy looking to build a digital marketing agency when he's in his 20s, right? So,
Yep.
So these are two very, very separate audiences, and you cannot speak to both the same way. Which is the audience that you are drawn to speak to right now?
Both. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one are you drawn to speak to first? Because you can easily adapt one book and spit out a second book really fast to the other audience, right? Just kind of tweaking the framing.
So from a passion perspective, women, especially because of my daughter, and that was kind of the foundation of the book. Like the challenges my wife had that we had right before she was born kind of spawned the whole book. I think that book I connect with, I get the best reaction. So I basically have been using some of the chapters as speaking engagements. And like I've had rooms of women cry and actually got 3 coaching clients out of it. So I know it works. I know that that's probably the right audience to write the first book. And then it probably can go more tactile and blunt writing a second one. But I'd never thought about splitting it into 2.
Yeah, and you can consider too that one of the things the book will do is draw your audience toward you as clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you desire to have more women clients who are in that specific scenario and you know you can speak to it really well, that's the kind of clientele you're going to bring in by focusing the book on them.
Yeah.
So if that's who you're feeling passionate about and that's who you want to draw to you, then keep writing to them. Is there any reason that you would pivot to a different audience?
To grow the current mastermind. Like we have the framework and everything. I didn't expect my agency to scale so quickly. So I guess the standpoint of the authority and proof points was a lot stronger. And that one does apply to both people. They're just not necessarily like, it's not the message of the mom looking to leave. It's like the mid-career professional looking to get out.
And my friends who are moms, just saying, if the book is not written to show them how they can do it, they're not picking up that book to hear how some middle range manager can pick this up, right? Like they know that they have different challenges. So
yep. Is there any disadvantage that I'm not a mom?
You're a dad. I think as long as you're speaking really authentically and vulnerably from your place as a father and watching your wife go through that stuff, I think it's totally legit.
Could I adjust it to parents? Like the biggest thing in my change was I was commuting all the time, so I never got home for dinner. Basically, it was almost impossible to be like an active parent. Whereas like once I started making the shifts, like I don't know, I could pick my kids up any day of the week I want. Like we could take vacations whenever. So I could almost attack from the angle of parents. Would that work?
Any of these will work. You've got to get clear on what supports your larger goals. Like you've got to go back to your why and really understand what it is you're trying to accomplish and who you're trying to serve. Because I can see how any of these could help you professionally, but you've got to prioritize in some way.
Mm-hmm.
As Emily said, you're going to attract different flavors of audience depending on how you position the book. Even if 80 or 90% of the content is the same, you know, the skin that you put on it is going to really make a difference.
Okay.
So I would say you have a brand strategy question to think about.
Okay.
That should guide you. Does that help you at all?
That actually is really helpful. So I'll go back and redo that exercise. Yep.
Doug, you don't know me. I'm about as subtle as a Mack truck.
Good.
Okay. Close your eyes, and I'm an estate planning attorney. You have 2 months to live. You're going to be dead in 2 months. What book are you writing? This is it. What book are you writing? Don't think. What book are you writing?
Parents.
Brita has a different approach to brand strategy.
Yes.
Yeah. I like it.
Go from your heart, though. Think from your heart. What book do you really want out there? Not what's going to bring you money or bring you clients. What book do you want out there?
I think the parents one, because it's one that I can hand down to my kids. They can hand to their kids. It's like entrepreneurship is rooted in family, not in one or the other.
Yeah. And Emily made a point a minute ago that you want to be able to be really authentic, and clearly you can do that if you're writing as a parent, right? And takes away that question about trying to write for women when you're a man, things like that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
It's easy as like an entrepreneurial parent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very specific market that you can find.
I love you guys.
I want your book to give to my friends when you're done, so please let us know.
I will. Thank you. Well, this has been super helpful. I'm sorry I was away so long.
No, man. You know what? We were talking about this in Austin last week. I'm going to write this down. I love you guys. I don't get that every day. You get very different things. Ask Brita. Brita, who's flamed me publicly multiple times. The thing is, Doug, and this is true for everybody who does this work, there comes a point where for whatever reason you slow down, you drop off, you stop working. And then there's this sense of potentially a sense of shame around like coming back to these calls or coming back to Facebook. And we really want to take that away. We are thrilled that you're here. We're always thrilled when people show up. And
I'll tell you right now, I will hop in the group and do a video about how important it is to come back to the calls.
Cool.
I'll
Sweet,
gladly
man.
do that.
Love to have
this. This was. I feel unstuck.
That's great.
Thank you.
All right. Good. Okay. Who's going to top that one? Who's up next? I've really been enjoying watching Lindsay's stretches. That's great. Lindsay, you want to tell us like how you've sorted out where you're going with your book and what you're doing right now? Not what your stretching is, but
Yeah. I think it's what's most interesting is that, Brita, when you started with everybody just flooding with the huge numbers and all that kind of stuff, I was like, wow, this, you can tell everybody is kind of posting for the first time, that the excitement is still there. And I think what you're saying about the calls is the most important thing. Like, we don't know what's going to happen on the call, but just being here will help keep that momentum rolling. And everything that you're saying about like, when you fall away from it a little bit and you have that sense of shame, I mean, part of the reason why I ended up finding you guys and ultimately coming to you is because I've been wanting to write this book, which is now 2 books, for a very long time. And so I've gone through the being lost in your draft, not really understanding the outline and all of these things. And I mean, I've literally written like 250 pages on my own, and then just was willing to scrap them all because it just didn't feel right. And I think that one of the most liberating things after coming back from the workshop is that I know the story, it's in my head. Keep, Hallie in mind, that she's sitting there and I'm writing the way that I would speak to her, and whenever because a lot of the stuff that I first started writing was literally, Craig, what your wife is talking about, of like, your friends or your family might be interested in this. But then ultimately, for me, does Hallie really want to know that I wanted to get my ears pierced when I was 4? Stuff like that. Like, there are so many little stories that seem really interesting to me, but what I think the willingness to like cut those things away. And I think something that I realized the other day was that so many people have been important and influential in my story that it was almost like I wanted to give them all a shout out somewhere within the context of the story. And that doesn't work. Like, it's just, you can't write a page about this coach or that stranger or that teammate. They know they're all there. They know they're all part of the story. And I was like, right, this is for Hallie. This is not to shout out to everyone that, was a part of this. And that was actually something that I realized that I didn't ask a question about, was acknowledgments within the book. Because I don't think we talked about that, did we? Unless I fell asleep with my eyes closed. like
because it's kind of an accessory piece that doesn't need to be addressed till after the manuscript is done. But exactly what you're saying with these shout outs to people, the acknowledgments is the perfect place to do that. It's basically a love letter to all of the people that contributed to your book or your journey. And you can get really personal in there and, give a couple lines each to really say thank you in the way that you want. So,
yeah. And it's funny because I've read through acknowledgments before, and I don't know why that didn't dawn on me before. And so now kind of this third iteration of like, I finally feel like I have the right direction and guidance, and that I'm sometimes if you kind of feel like you're on the right path, it helps to know that people that have the experience and the knowledge are guiding you down the right path with that you're like, yes, keep going with that. You are moving in the right direction. And I think that's something that I found really amazing about the whole workshop is that from each of you, between, you, Hal, and you, Emily, and Tucker, was that you got a little bit of like empathy and care and directness and also a little kick in the butt at the same time, which was a really great mixed model of all of the things that I personally needed. Does that answer any questions that you might have had?
No, that's great. We're here to answer your questions and hear how you're doing. And it sounds like you're doing really well. I actually am really glad you brought up acknowledgments. I'm a big fan of them. And because, a book is not something that happens in isolation. And it's every book that any of you are writing is a product of your life and the wisdom that you've gathered from others and so on. And I tend to find acknowledgments are kind of liberating because they really let you open up your arms and embrace all the people that helped you, and not to pretend that you're up on a pedestal and you've done all these things yourself and so on. I've seen, Emily said a couple of lines. I've actually seen acknowledgments, going 3, 4, 5 pages sometimes in media books, and they're annotated and they're actually quite interesting to read sometimes. I think in your case in particular, because you had so many influential coaches in your work. And people in your life, it might be fascinating. It's almost, I don't want to get you off track, but I could see how it could be a really nice addendum to the book to help round out your experience for the reader. It'd be a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Good. But that's a future problem.
Also, yeah. Well, and that's another thing. The parking lot is great. I love it. Just put it over there. That's cool. Move along. But the idea of remembering, oh right, there's an acknowledgement section for this. That's also helped me be able to condense a lot of things and streamline moving from one thing to the next. And because it is technically, this is a vomit draft. Like, I'm not concerned about it being too short. There's always going to be more than making it ridiculously long. So it's like, all right, write this chapter, move to the next. Did I do my checkpoints? Awesome. And just stick to that outline. To go back to what was being said in the beginning, I think that something that I noticed in myself sometimes is like, you have a plan for something, you create this plan, and you had the most clarity and guidance when you made the plan. And then when you start to get tired, you're like, oh, maybe I should do this. Well, probably not. Stick to that outline when you had the most clarity and the most guidance. You did it that way for a reason. That's kind of the way that I'm kind of perceiving it.
Wow. It's like Lindsay listened. This is great.
I've been struggling in a single for 7 years, and now I'm getting guidance. I'm going with it.
That's great. That's great. I love it. All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Really appreciate the update. Let's see. Hugh, I'm going to come back to you again because maybe you got your audio fixed now. Can we hear you?
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's wrong with my computer.
You're good now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. I would love to hear how things are going for you.
I did. Yeah, sorry. I did a Zoom call yesterday and was on the phone, and I think it messed up my computer on Zoom. So I'll figure it out tomorrow. Anyway, things are going great. I had a little bit of a drop off I don't see anybody from the August training on here. So House Heroes are sort of dying fast, huh, Hal? On the call. Man. Yeah. So, so for you guys, that sounds like a lot of people just went through it, right? Hitting that 250 a day is super important. Don't worry about the bigger numbers. I think I did that straight from August until late September and cranked out a lot of the book. And then I got into another project, and that sort of derailed me a little bit. My deadline is the 31st, and I'm into I did the conclusion, and now I'm into the introduction. So I should hit that on my next 3 flights, have my vomit draft done.
That's fantastic. That's really great. And hats off to you for like getting back after it when you drop off. I mean, that's as you've identified, about 2 months out, people start to flag. And I get it. I mean, life happens, and we're not here to judge anybody, but coming back in and just continuing to hit that, I'm really impressed with you. Are you running into any questions or concerns at this stage, or just see the finish line and driving for it?
So the problem I have now is that I have so many more ideas that I want to like jump in there. And I guess it was Lindsay that was just saying that, like, it's like, all right, things have changed in 2.5 months. I'm like, well, maybe I should tilt it in this slant. So I'm just going to stay where it is, fight that tendency to want to change it. Because now there's all these things that I see I could lead it in use the same content just slightly differently. So that's what I'm fighting the urge of doing. Because as we all get better at this and we pick up things along the way, you're like, oh, I could rewrite it this way. So I'm just getting it done, and then we'll figure it out from there.
You know, I heard something the other day. I forget who this guy's name was, but his one of his trademark phrases was, our brains are for having ideas, not holding them. And this is sort of an argument for the parking lot. Like, Hugh, take those ideas that you have and capture them somewhere, get them out of your head. And then you, at your leisure, when you have your draft done and you are going back through editing, you can decide if what you captured is useful in this book, or maybe it goes somewhere else. But if you just get it out of your head, it'll actually free up your creative work and make it easier for you to keep going forward. It's true for all of us. I can't hold more than about 2 things in my head at any given time. My children's age and my home address, and that's it. So I got to write everything.
Yeah, no, I got it out, but it was just like a different analogy for how the book flowed. So I was like, I'll just get it done. I'll put that down. I took a picture of what it was, and it's like, if it works later, it works. If not, it's fine the way it is.
Good. All right. That's great, man. I'm really impressed. You're just driving at it. All right. Let's see. Somebody here is on phone, 818 area code. Who's that? 818-57.
Hi, it's Joette.
Oh, hey, Joette. How you doing?
What's going on? I'm not bad. Not bad.
Good. I see you've been writing. You've been posting about it. How's it feeling for you?
It's going really well. I'm excited about it. When I'm not writing, I'm thinking about it. So that's good. I'm having trouble a little bit because my outline is so vague, but I'm not sure yet how to make it less vague, and I wasn't able to figure that out in Austin either. It's not that it's vague, it's just that it's a lot. So I heard you say something earlier about a pre-vomit draft, and I wanted to maybe, that perked up my ear real quick, because it almost might be what I'm doing, because the book can't be 5 million years long, and I have to narrow it down a little bit. But I think I have to get it all out first to understand where the connections really are.
Joette, you have, and actually some other folks on this call are in this boat too. Colleen is for sure, and so is Lindsay. You have the special honor of writing a memoir, which is sort of like it's a best laid plans kind of scenario. You know, the outline is your best laid plan. You can work to follow it think of it more as a loose framework, but to really dig deep and get vulnerable, you are going to have to let the reins out and let your writing take you to any places that you need to go, not all of which are going to be what you intend to publish. So I wouldn't exactly call that the same, like a pre-vomit draft, but if it helps you as a mental frame, then go for it. Think of this as like a I'm going to get it all out before I really start to decide what my book is. I think that's a really good way to approach memoir, with the flexibility required to let yourself go to the emotional spaces, that are going to be more unpredictable than a business book would be.
So then after you've done that, and then, it's gone in these different, how do you then take that and rein it in into something else?
Keeping your avatar in mind is a fantastic tool for that. If you are continuing to write to that one person, you're more likely to say the things that are relevant to them and therefore your reader. That said,
Okay.
there's also going to be stuff that you're going to need to, I would assume there's going to likely be stuff that you'll need to explore that won't necessarily be that comfortable to think about telling another person. And you may need to sort of like drop into sections of writing where you decide, I'm just going to write this for myself and see where it goes. And then later in the editing, when you're deciding how to rein that in and what to do with that material, then it comes back to your reader again. So it's always about your reader, and it's just whether it helps to keep them in mind as you're writing. Usually says, if you need to divorce yourself from that reader while you're writing so you can go where you need to go, then you'll keep them in mind when you're editing.
Okay, that sounds good.
Can I toss something out there?
Please.
Lindsay, go ahead.
So Emily, that thing that I mentioned to you about just like writing the name of my avatar in the heading, like, because at the headings of my documents, I write like book 1, chapter 1, book 1, chapter 2, and then like I write the dash. I write for, freshman Hallie. That's literally what I wrote at the top. That way it's like every time there's a new page, it constantly reminds me like, okay, instead of dropping into the rabbit hole, go, this is the story. I picture her in front of me, that we're sitting down at a table, and it's been helping make sure that I haven't gone away from that. And if there is any sense to go away from it, then it brings it back. And Joette, like, there were a lot of things that I just wrote in the past that were really great stories that were part of the story, but they ultimately didn't fit Hallie's story, and I'm like, my parents would appreciate this, my brother would appreciate it, X, Y, and Z would appreciate it, but it's just like you're saying, that avatar really, really does help if you give yourself some sort of reminder that it's there all the time, like literally create the person in your head. If that helps.
I like that. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to write that on the top. I think that's a cool idea.
So far, it's helped. It's helped a lot.
I like that. I also had another question kind of about style versus vomit draft. Is there time for that?
Yes, of course.
So the book that I had in mind is obviously a memoir, but I also wanted it to be semi-artistic, and the way that I write is a little bit artistic, a little bit, I don't know how to explain it because I'm not a literary person, so I don't know the actual words, but somebody's described it to me as like a halfway Milton. And I enjoy writing that way, and I don't know, but it takes time, it's a different type of thought process, and that feels like it's something that happens like after the editing part. So do I think about that in the book, or should I just give up on that thought and do straight plain language and tell the story just like I'm speaking to, a human being, although that's not what I originally had intended?
I would say just write it as it comes out, which is a bit of a cop-out. Okay. If it comes out kind of wording to you, then awesome, let it be. If you find that you're kind of mulling it over and you're reworking to get it to fit that style, then cut all that out and just say it as simply as you can.
That's it. Okay.
And one of the biggest arguments for going simple versus stylistic is that it becomes easier to kill your darlings later if you didn't dress them all up super pretty to begin with.
That does answer my question actually completely.
Cool.
It was, whether to just spit it out and then never mind. But yeah, thank you.
Great. All right. For those of you who have been in here for a while, what happened in our group last week in Austin was we realized we had a bunch of people who are really writing kind of straight up memoir and then we also had people who are writing much more kind of classic scribe prescriptive business books. And so you'll hear slightly different flavors of advice now, but I don't want you to be too confused. We're just kind of talking to two slightly different types of authors at this point. Anyway, jumping along here, let's see who else we can get to. I see Spree has shown up, and I am full of hope and anticipation that she's going to get on.
You're so sweet.
You're going to get on camera, which is going to mean good things.
No, I don't want to get on camera.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, you know me so well. So the good news is people sent in their comments and feedback. I need to assess like how many people did, but they did it throughout the week. So that's really good. My week has been taken unexpectedly, needing to move out of my office and moving all my stuff into my house. So I haven't done much else other than deal with a bunch of material chaos. So the only forward movement has been that people have turned in their comments, and now I have to see how many people did, and I have to assess what they said. And I really like the plan that you guys gave me last time to schedule 2 hours with different people. So that's the game plan. And yeah, I just got off a call with my my kind of like a life coach or whatever, who helped make me more in a positive mind state, even though my voice probably doesn't reflect that. Yeah, because I know
Good.
how you're probably thinking by what date, and I don't feel like I could confidently give you that on this call right now.
That's fine,
Yeah.
Spree. The only deadlines that matter are the ones you put on yourself. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you're here. That's important.
All right, thanks.
Good. Okay, excellent. Thanks for the update. Rich is no longer driving. I'm willing to talk to you. Tell us how it's been going for you the last few days. I'm not getting your audio right now. Rich is thinking about it. I love these guys from Silicon Valley. Like, it makes me feel so much better. They don't know how to use their phones. All right. Let's see. Hussein, saw your awesome post where you went public on Facebook with what you're doing. It's pretty exciting. How you feeling about your work?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
That's the crucial thing.
You're like a
Okay,
millennial,
good.
so like you're good with tech. You're not like an old guy like Rich and me.
I mean, I try to stick with it, man. You got to out here. It's serious. No, it's been good, man. You know, I didn't think I would enjoy writing as much as I have been, though it's been like crazy emotional to like dig up all those old memories. I was actually on the flight back from Austin. I was like, I'm gonna write. Yeah, I'm excited. And then like 10 minutes in, I'm bawling, like writing some of these things down. And but at the same time, it's like I'm feeling like weight lifted off my shoulders. It's really interesting. And then just like digging back in those memories, and then like the Avatar thing. I mean, Lindsay, hit it over the head. It's been remarkable to just like, I literally just close my eyes and just picture my nieces and nephews just sitting in front of me, and I just start going, and it feels natural. I don't know what it is. So it's been great. I hope that it just continues that way.
That's great. That's really encouraging. I don't want to burst your bubble, but you'll have your ups and downs for sure. It's not going to be smooth like that all the way, but but you know, you've obviously got a lot of pent up material you're trying to get out, and that's fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah, it's been good, man. Just grateful for the guidance. That stuff helped, and just visualizing the people who we're writing to is just, it's a game changer.
Yeah, great. Okay, running into any problems or anything at this point, or just cranking on it?
At this point, no. I just figured like just tell the story as purely and as, as raw as it can be. And then there are times where I've like gone into like real detail and I just like poured that stuff out. And I'm just really trying to tell myself again not to edit, and then like it's like, you know, just put it out, and whatever happens to it happens to it. That's been, I think, the nicest thing, to be honest with you. It's just like, it's just me and this computer, like.
Yeah, that's
know,
great that you give yourself that permission.
Yeah, so that's been, I think, the other relief for sure.
Oh, this is encouraging. Excellent. So glad to hear it.
Thanks,
all
man.
right. Quan, I'm just going to put you on notice. I'm going to have you go last because I want to send us out on a rockin' high note here. So, okay. So I'm going to talk to a couple other people, but I'm coming to you. All right. We're going to give Rich another chance and see if he's found the volume on his phone.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hal.
Well done. All
okay.
Right.
Wow. Silicon Valley guy can get his iPhone to work. Hey, everybody. So yeah, a couple quick things. It's going well. I mean, I think finally I've got a place to put ideas down, which has been super helpful. Hal, I think you mentioned earlier, like, you know, the brain is not to hold the ideas, it's to come up with them. So it's been super great to get them down, and it just sort of came out, you know, the first time I sat down to write, which was awesome. I think actually today I had a great conversation. It was with my avatar, a lady that I work with, that I'm basically writing the book around, and that was actually a pretty enlightening chat, because one of the questions that I've really got is around the voice to write the book around. Sometimes I kind of float between a very academic voice, meaning, you know, this is the way the world works and these are the things you should go do. And then when I have the actual conversations with someone like my avatar or this person I work with and I coach, it's a whole different voice that's supernatural and conversational. And I'm thinking what the right approach is for the voice of the way in which I should write it. And I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, but
I
kind of
question already. What do you think it is?
Sorry, go ahead.
I think you already know the answer to that question of what. What do you think it is?
I think it's when I sit down and I talk to, you know, the person I'm coaching,
Right.
And I think that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, and that's the way in which I'm not thinking about it more than just really I'm letting it just come out onto the page or on, you know, as I'm typing it, versus thinking about it and reframing it and saying it in a way that people want to hear it. Something like that.
Hey,
so,
Rich.
but I've been flipping between, yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to speak over you. Keep going.
Oh no, I think I've been conditioned to write in a way to double check what I'm saying. You know, that's like my emails, and so I'm just trying to break out of that. You know, which I just haven't written in a sort of super open way in the past. I talk like that in conversation, not all the time, but sometimes I have to filter that. But it's harder to do that on, you know, by typing, you know, or writing. So, but go ahead.
Well, what I was gonna say was when you first told me your book idea, Rich, you might remember my reaction was like, I need that right now. Like what you're gonna write your book about. So maybe an idea for you is think about, I'm not saying it's me, but like the person who is reacting in that way, like, how do I do this? Like, that's probably how you want to write it, is to that person. Be like, okay, well, let me simplify it for you. And I think it's just as simple as that, having a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Remember what Tucker said about your readers are impatient and ignorant of your subject. They don't want to have to pick apart your sentences to try to understand technically what you mean. They just want you to tell it to them straight up.
That's great. That's great. One other super quick question is around sort of when I know, sometimes I've been writing like this first chapter and I feel like I'm feel like I'm done, and I want to move to the next chapter, but I'm not, it doesn't feel like I've written a lot. And so I'm trying to, kind of calibrate how best to make sure I finish a thought and an idea, but there's enough content. And I don't want that to be a barrier. I don't want that to be in my process to say, did I write enough words? I don't want that to be a barrier,
don't worry about it.
obviously.
Like word count is irrelevant right now. Certainly at this stage, word count is irrelevant. It's probably irrelevant at all stages.
And this idea of what's in content is also irrelevant if you've finished your thoughts, right? Like if the idea that you've made is complete and it makes sense, then that's content that needs to be there. Don't stress about trying to fill anything in.
Got it. That's great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Yep.
And Rich, also, when you're writing this draft, like you literally can leave yourself notes about anything you want. So you could say, you put a note at the bottom of this first chapter that says, I'm not sure I've written everything I should in this chapter, but think about that next time through, and then just go forward. So you've gotten it out of your head. You put a reminder in for yourself. And that's useful for all kinds of situations. If you need to go look something up, or if you need to get a citation, or you want to tell a story and you don't have it right in front of you, just leave a marker there. And then that's something that becomes part of a punch list as you're working back through the draft.
Perfect.
Start editing.
I like that.
All right.
I like that.
Good.
It's great. Yeah.
All right. So
fantastic, guys. Thank you.
You bet. So before I put Quan on the spot, I just wanted to see, we didn't get quite to everybody this time. I want to see if anybody has any questions or things they want to share that have come up that want to throw into the mix here. Very quiet. All right, Mr. Hyun. Congratulations to you, Quan, for getting your book in. It's that all of us are really, really excited about you having your draft in. And I'm thrilled to see you here. I thought you were going to take a couple weeks off and disappear. And
no, I like coming on here.
I know. That's great to have you. So what are you doing now? You just chilling out?
I was doing some work, and then I realized, because I was swamped with a bunch of work, and then I realized the call was coming. So you know what? Let me jump on and listen to the call and do some work in the meantime.
Good for you.
Get to meet the new the Scribe. Get to meet the new Scribe tribe in here, and
that's right.
See what everyone's doing.
All right. So you've sent your book into us. You'll have it back in a few weeks. Like, kind of, where's your head at? Like, how are you feeling right now?
Well, a sense of relief, excited, happy, nervous, scared, all of that. I was telling Breeder that.
Okay, good. All of you will get to Quan's spot sooner or later.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying that to everybody else, all of you will get to Quan's spot, and you'll all get that feeling. And then that's when I get to hurt your feelings, as you all know. So. Good. Okay, that's great. I'm really pleased you came. I'm really delighted to see you here.
Yeah, I'll still jump on if I'm allowed to. So.
Yeah, of course you are. No one gets blacklisted from this. I think people get tired of us eventually, but we never throw anybody out. So.
No, I like listening to what everyone's going through, so it's cool.
Good. Got a couple more minutes. Let me jump to somebody I haven't talked to yet. Maybe Sabri, do you want to tell us? Rita, I talked to you.
No, you forgot something with Quan.
Quan, share whatever he wants to share.
No, he has not shared everything he was supposed to share. We had a little. Quan knows exactly what he's supposed to do on this call. So does Emily, and so should you.
No, I said it's either sing or give you 100. So I told you I owe you $100.
Do you have $100, sir?
Yes. Give me your address and you'll get
Venmo.
Yep.
Venmo.
Or Zelle, Venmo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trash talk around here. I like it.
Or you can save yourself a whole lot of money and just sing for us, man. I would sing my ass off right now if I were you.
I would if I could, but I didn't drink anything yet, so I can't sing right now.
I'll get the beats rolling. You hit the tune. Good.
No.
Hey, if we're handing out $100 bills, I'll take one.
Yeah. Apparently, if you don't live up to Brita's deadline expectations
Your hundreds.
Your hundreds, or you got to sing for
Yeah,
yourself.
she tricked me into it. She was acting like she was really trying to help me, and then I realized she tricked me after she posted.
All right. Well, actually, I did try to call on Sabri. Sabri, is there anything you wanted to say or ask before we bail out here?
This conversation has been really helpful. I think everyone, when they talked about all the things that they were talking about, really hit at home for me. When Lindsay was talking about her pre-vomit draft, like talking about all the details that don't matter about me complaining about things or writing about that I did this, it really sets into perspective that we're all on the same page, kind of. And I think I'm just really grateful for this group.
Great. Well, I'm really pleased you came. That's what makes it happen, is when everybody shows up. So thank you all. It's a delight to see everybody here. Go off and do good work. And I look forward to seeing you all. Emily and I both look forward to seeing you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.